and welcome to the Sportsman Show. I am your host, Joe Musil, coming to you live from Zoom for Nutmeg Television, along with my co-host, Jason DeCarolis. Say hi,
everybody.
Jason. And it's a special show today. We actually have a guest. It's a pleasure to have him on. He's a vintage baseball player. And, please welcome Chuck. Pronounce your last name.
Chuck Griffin.
Sure. Chickarella.
Chickarella. That's right.
Chickarella. How can I forget that? But, all right. So, Chuck, you do vintage baseball. Where do you do that from, and how did that get started?
Sure. So I run a baseball club out of Hartford, Connecticut called the Connecticut Baseball Club of Hartford. And we replicate 19th century baseball, usually ranging from 1860 through 1886. But every now and then, if it's a special event, we'll do a game in the 1890s, be it 93 or 95. Okay.
Yeah, we've watched a couple of the vintage baseball games at Muzzy Field. You were there. How are you doing with? Are you still going on with your vintage games? Are there fans or anything this year? Or
yeah, no, we're not actively promoting for fans. So it's been kind of a quasi-private event, which has been really great. To be honest with you, it's the promotion that goes into trying to have a baseball game for fans it's a lot of work. And there's just a lot of other work that needs to be done for our team and our organization to function. So to not have to worry about promotion's actually been really nice. It's made the baseball a lot better.
Okay. But you still take pictures and do websites and promote the thing a little bit?
Not so much.
Not so much,
I mean,
no?
Well, the way I see it, Joe, the internet has enough pictures of me.
Okay.
Website-wise, we don't really run a website. I mean, there is a digital footprint for a website. We're called the CTBBBA, the Connecticut Vintage Baseball Association. So there's a .org that's run by a gentleman out of New London, Connecticut, but we kind of put the halt on all of that. We don't really feel the need to promote right now. We don't have any narcissistic desire to wallpaper our faces on social media or the internet. It's more about the reasons why we play baseball and what it does in our lives more than anything we're trying to project outwardly.
Okay. So what does it, what is the why?
Well, it's different for everyone. For me, I didn't start playing baseball till I was about 30 years old, about 11 years ago. And, in the course of that time, just like most men of a certain age, you start to live through some things that aren't great in your life. And, I lost my mom in 2014 and she was 61 and, her friendship and her role in my life, just like most people, is just, it can't be replaced. So, you have some options there. You could, in my case, take a year off and sit around and be depressed and cry every Saturday and bemoan the fact that things didn't work out the way I wanted them to, which I did. I did quite a bit of that. But then kind of, you have that kind of aha moment where you think to yourself, well, I need to do something here to improve my my quality of life. And it just so happened that baseball continues to fill voids in my life. I have a wonderful life. I'm blessed to have a wife and two healthy children and my dad and my three sisters. And they're great. They're wonderful people and I love them dearly. I can't have my mom back because that's just the way it works. So, you find things in your life to derive joy and happiness.
Yep.
And for me, that's baseball.
Well,
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Lost my father early, too. Coachy's lost his mother early, too.
Yeah, my mom just, it'll be 21 years this coming Tuesday, believe it or not.
Yep. So we all find comfort in sports.
And I don't know if you feel this way, Coachy, but for me, it's like when you lose a parent, time's an afterthought. It doesn't matter if it's a week, a day, a month, 10 years, 20 years. You carry it with you. For me, it's when something really great happens. I don't know if you can relate to this. Like I was recently nominated for another Emmy Award professionally, and every time something wonderful happens, there's a split second when you say, oh my God, I have to call mom. And for a fleeting moment, it feels like you can, and then very quickly you remember that you can't. And it's that little interval where it seems real, and then you realize you can't. It's almost like the grief process happens again and again. So it's a mixture of happy and sad, but I think at the end of the day, and you probably feel this way, Coach, you know that your mom would be proud of you, just like Joe's dad would be proud of Joe and all the great talents he has, especially in photography and media and broadcasting. That's the takeaway. You just want to live your life the best way that you can, because at the end of the day that those people would be proud of you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We all strive to be proud of somebody.
Yeah. It's like, for example, like you said, it's like, it takes some time that you lose somebody in your family, and then, you think about it, it's like, okay, here we are a week later. It's time to get back into the swing. And that's how I like the role that you played it, Chuck. When you get something like that, an award, same thing. I've gotten awards in the past too, and same thing, the emotions and everything. It's like, okay, you got a speech to do, roll with it.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's get back to a little bit more of the baseball part.
Sure.
And stuff like that.
Sure.
So how'd you guys start? Why'd you pick the 19th century?
Yeah, I was working in Boston many years ago, and a gentleman on my crew said to me, I want you to come play this game that we play. We have this barehanded baseball league. And I said to him, well, that's crazy. I'm not going to play barehanded baseball. It's nuts. And he said, no, look, man, we really need your help, so I want you to come check it out. So I went and played a game for the Olneyville Cadets, who make their home in Warwick, Rhode Island. And I just fell in love with everything about playing baseball, be it 19th century or modern baseball. It's just something about it, man. The guys, the team, the situations, the camaraderie. If you're lucky enough to be on a team who travels like we do, it just gets inside you. It becomes part of you. So I bounced around. I played in Olneyville. I played for a couple teams in Boston and Western Massachusetts, and moved down to Connecticut, coming up on 9 years ago, and obviously wanted to keep doing it. So I ran into the group of people out of Wethersfield and started to catch on with their 1864 program. It was a great time. I started my own Pick 9 about 4 or 5 years ago, just to kind of kick tires on whether or not this was for me. I mean, playing was great, but to take on a club and set up schedules and all the communication that it takes to pull that off, I knew it would be difficult. So I gave it a shot, and lo and behold, it's worked out well. It's worked out really well for us.
Yep. How'd you guys?
Question.
Go ahead, Coachy.
The uniforms, the jerseys back
That's
for when back in the 19th centuries. What is the jerseys are like? Is it really like old uniform, or they try to bring it up to speed now, but they just add some old logos and stuff? Let's put it that way.
That's a good question. I mean, typically we strive for historical accuracy, so we'll examine what the uniform looked like, be it the early 1860s through the 70s and 80s and into the latter portion of the century. And, in a perfect world, your uniform would mirror the style that you're playing. For instance, if you're wearing knickers, you probably wouldn't be playing 1860 baseball, because that was more of a long pants experience. You see in the 1860s, oftentimes you have a shield on the front, and you wouldn't typically have lace-up shirts or button-up shirts, because those came later in the 19th century. But the reality is that, if the phone rings and it's calling from the Mountain Athletic Club and says, hey, man, we're going to be playing 1895 next weekend, we're not going to run out and buy 18 uniforms. So you kind of wear what you have. But yeah, our uniforms were initially fashioned after the 1886 Yale Baseball Club. And we've since migrated into more 1864 play. So, we've tried to make some uniform adjustments, tried to go to some longer pants, kind of simplify it. Because when you think about it, in the early to mid 1860s, codified baseball was coming up on about 10 years old. So the uniforms were simple. These people didn't have a lot of money. They were kind of learning the game as it developed. So, a lot of times you see these ornate, grandiose uniforms for clubs that play 1860s era baseball, which is a long time, by the way. It's a pet peeve of mine when people say 1860s baseball, because the game changed so many times in that decade, and a lot of really important fundamental changes to play. So we try to be more specific and say, hey, we play 64, 65, 67, et cetera, and try to avoid generalities just to stay in that historically accurate frame of mind. But yeah, you see as you track the uniforms throughout the 19th century, kind of what they consisted of, what they were made of, what the overall feel was. And, fortunately for us, we have the internet, and a lot of primary research has already occurred since the vintage baseball project nationally started out, I want to say 1979, 1980, in a couple of locations, Old Bethpage and out in Ohio Village. They were also among the first to do this, to what has grown to be this sprawling activity of over 200 teams nationally.
Wow.
So we do have at our disposal a lot of primary research that was conducted by some very studious people, and we use those resources in our planning.
Oh, very nice. You got
Very nice.
200 teams?
Yeah.
Wow. You guys should hold a World Series of vintage baseball.
At least a tournament.
Yeah, they do something similar, I think, in the Midwest, where they have a world champion. But, feasibly, logistically, it's a nice thing to say, but the reality is that nobody's playing everybody. And let's even say the top, 3%, the top tier of all the teams nationally. For those teams to get together would probably be cost prohibitive. But, there are regionally events like our All-Star game that Joe's been to at Muzzy Field. Like, I wouldn't say that's the All-Star game, because that's discounting people from the other 42 states. We're lucky to have 8 states represented, but no, by no means is it the All-Star game. It's an All-Star game.
Okay. Now you talked about clothing. You use vintage equipment too. How did you get a hold of that?
Sure. So there's a handful of vendors that are just wonderful to work with. I'll name drop a few. The Bulldog Bat Company out of Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Michael Payas is the proprietor, and he actually is a player and an umpire and helps manage our club. So we like to go to Michael for our baseball bats, but there are other great bat manufacturers in the country. The baseballs themselves come from a handful of places, much like the hats and uniforms. We like to work locally, so we get our uniforms from KP Weaver out of Orange, Connecticut.
Okay.
They do a wonderful job. Ken and Paula service a vast number of teams across the country, and their craftsmanship is unparalleled. So between Weaver and Bulldog, we tend to get a lot of our goods and uniform services from them.
Yep. Nice. Is it hard to make those things, or?
I would imagine so. I mean, their seam work is impeccable. I mean, part of the problem, I think, for Weaver and Bulldog, Mike's a great example. His bats don't break a whole lot. So, maybe if he made bats that were a little less quality, he'd sell more.
Yeah.
But, Mike takes a lot of pride in his work, and he does a great job with his baseball bats. And just like Ken and Paula with the uniforms are tremendous.
Yeah. All right. Coach, you got anything?
Yep. I actually this question just popped. What do you think about during the vintage baseball back to the 1860s? How do you think the umpiring was? I mean, I know they dressed up like an old chest protector, big time down your stomach, shirt with a tie on and shirt on and stuff. Do they do that in those leagues like that?
Yeah, I mean, it varies. Like in the 1860s, the attire was a little more modern. You typically wouldn't see an umpire with a mask or a chest protector in the 1860s. They'd stand a little farther away because what you're really looking for, the way that the rules are articulated in 1864, is that the pitcher is to deliver the ball. It's an underhanded pitch up until 1884. So the pitcher is to deliver the ball as nearest to the center of home base and for the striker. So it was really a contact game. So you typically wouldn't see situations where, people are working the count and having elongated at-bats. Now, those things do happen, but the spirit of the game at that point in history was more of a contact game. It's a very rapid game. It's a very rapidly played game. You get a fair ball can be caught on one bounce for an out up until 1865, and that was the first year where you had to catch a fair ball on the fly. You could still field a foul ball for a bounce at 65, but that rule change was watershed in the progression of baseball because the framers of the game, people like Doc Adams and company, really wanted a fly ball game, but it was hard, for one or two people's opinions to really cut through the masses. When baseball would go to conference, they would very judiciously make rule changes. Pretty much every year. I mean, there are spells in baseball where they would make a fundamental rule change regularly. So, we try to replicate that. And, to your question about umpiring, I love it. I enjoy doing it in the 1860s, particularly 64. But no, you wouldn't see someone dressed in a real ornate way. It would be more simplified.
Okay. That sounds like the NFL making rule changes on instant replay, right on the fly and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely. And to continue on my theory of the next question, Chuck, that you said that they do the underhand. Is there always, back in vintage baseball, we always have high-scoring games?
Not particularly. I mean, you certainly can. It all comes down to how evenly matched up, those teams and those players are. I've been in vintage baseball games in underhand and in overhand play that were 5-4, or 2-1, or 1-0. I've also been in games that were 35-20, or 21-0.
Yep.
I'm not surprised.
So it really does vary. There's a lot of base running. Baseball is an open running game, even though there are teams in the country who put restrictions on base running. That's simply not historically accurate. So we do an open base stealing, open running. Once you're on base, you advance at your own peril. So, if there's a catcher with a howitzer for an arm and he can gun you down, now you're asking a barehanded second base person, man or woman in our case, to field that ball cleanly and apply a tag in a split second. So, again, if you have high skill, typically you have lower scoring because players are crafty. They know that if, Joe's up at bat and we know that he has a big stick, well, if I'm playing in the outfield, I'm going to be inclined to take a few steps back.
You're going to shift. Yep.
Yeah, I might catch that ball on the fly. Or if I think you have a big stick and there's no runners on base, for instance, I might play deeper and use that one bounce to put you out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. We talked about the uniforms. We talked about the equipment. Let's talk about fields. What do you guys like playing?
Sure. So typically we like just an open grassy area without a dirt infield, certainly without a mound because that wouldn't be historically accurate. So just wide open, unenclosed. We play games at Colt Park in Hartford, which is a wonderful place to play baseball. Yeah. That particular parcel of land, what's the South Meadow now, was bequeathed to the city of Hartford by Elizabeth Colt after the death of Samuel Colt for the specific purpose of playing baseball. And the fact that we're still able to do that on that plot of land is very special. We play in Wethersfield, Connecticut at the site of the old state penitentiary, which is no longer there. It's now called Cove Park. We've played at Goodwin Park in Hartford, adjacent to the golf course. And as Joe knows, as Joe will tell you, if we get invited to Muzzy Field, we'll take it because it's a magical place to play.
Well, we always call Muzzy Field a magical place here in Bristol.
Yeah, Muzzy Field has always been magical for a lot of baseball games, past and present, of course.
Baseball games, football games. Coachy's been at a lot.
Now they're using them for movies now at the place. Even they've held a couple wrestling events down there too. So
yeah.
We'll be back there on Sunday, September 20th. We're having the third annual John Patrick Martin Memorial All-Star Game of historical baseball to benefit ALS research. John Martin was a cameraman, a videographer at the New England Sports Network for many, many years, and a dear colleague of mine who taught me, so much about broadcasting and about life. I can't even tell you. John became ill with ALS, and he passed away. And he left behind a wife and two daughters. And the day of John's passing was actually the first All-Star game that we did at Muzzy Field. So we decided to bring it back last year and again this year for our second and third installments. And we asked our players and our fans, if we're so blessed to have fans this year, to make a voluntary donation to a charity that we'll put up on the Facebook page associated with the Connecticut Baseball Club of Hartford. And that money goes directly to the families of those afflicted to ease their suffering.
Oh, okay. Will there
I would
be?
think they're going to allow fans too, because right now Muzzy Field, they have been allowing fans at their games this summer. Yes, they have. And I think and they haven't worried about the capacity as much, because all it's been Legion baseball, and really all it is has been parents going to the games. There hasn't really been extra fans coming from every time I drove by the field this summer.
Yep.
Yeah, Bristol's great. You know, as you guys are I'm sure are aware, I work in Bristol, Connecticut. But Muzzy Field, you know, to be able to work with Josh Medeiros of the park department, I want to give him a shout out. I think Josh does a tremendous job. His staff is knowledgeable. They communicate well. They're just a joy to work with. So we couldn't be more pleased to have that opportunity again.
Yep. And if they allow fans, hopefully a lot more fans come out. I know I was the only one in the stands. I was nicely to meet one of your cookie ladies, and she brings cookies to your.
The cookie lady, I forgot about the cookie lady. Yeah, she's great. Everybody loves that little sugar rush that we get.
Yeah.
No, but look, I'll tell you, we haven't been blessed with great weather. This is the first time the game will be played in September. It was taking place in the second and third week of October. And as you guys know, once you get into mid-October, the temperature starts to dip, and it's a big ask to have people come out to Muzzy Field to watch a game that they're not familiar with. So we're hopeful that we'll get a nice day.
Well, it does give you guys a chance this year, because the Mum Festival, as you know, got canceled this year. So you got a chance to see some possible more fans to attend. Since they got rid of it.
There's no Mum Festival. There's no Apple Festival. So you guys got some more attention. You got a shot more attention.
So, I mean, we'll spread the word a little bit, certainly more than we have for anything else this year. But, at the end of the day, I don't want people to come out and look at us and say, oh, look at those guys, that's so cool, yada, yada. What I want people to do is open their wallets, and I want them to give generously. And I'm going to provide that information to our fans and on social media about how to make that donation, because it's so critical, just to know. And I'm sure anybody who's watching this has lived through something where, gosh, people suffer. Some of the best people in the world that we meet, have their hardest times. Sometimes when we're having our finest hour, we're out there running around playing baseball, and gosh, the Martin family was just suffering terribly, and they're not the only ones. So we're going to ask that people give generously.
Okay.
All right.
We'll try to get people out there so people will show.
Promote.
Yep, promote it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yep. How do you become a member of your?
It's pretty easy. People who find out about it, are all welcome to play. Gosh, half of our organization are folks who just happened upon it, whether it was in person at a place like Fort Trumbull where we play, or maybe they see something we put up on Instagram or Facebook. And, we let all of those people play. Anybody who wants to play vintage baseball is welcome to play. I don't care if you're a man or a woman or any walk of life or political affiliation or any physical condition or ailment or special set of needs. You are welcome to play baseball with us.
Okay. Is there any information that people watching this show can find out more information?
Sure, yeah. So if one was to go to Facebook and look at the Connecticut Baseball Club of Hartford, you could send us a direct message there. If you're not a social media user, you could email me directly if you like. My email address is all one word. It's mediamanCharles@gmail. And I'd be happy to get back to you. And if you just want to chat baseball, I'll chat baseball. And if you want to throw on the garb and come throw it around and take a couple swings, we'd love to have you.
Okay.
Wonderful.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah. So, yeah. Do you want to talk Major League Baseball with us?
Well,
that's our next topic after you.
I would love to talk Major League Baseball with you, but fortunately or unfortunately, fortunately for me, I'm actually I'm directing Major League Baseball on television this year, and I'm very blessed to be able to do that. It's something I never thought would happen in my life, but because of standards and practices, we typically don't let non-spokespeople comment on professional environments, and we have a lot of wonderful people who represent us publicly about the sports that we cover. So I'd be remiss to comment on it professionally. But I'll tell you, the Reader's Digest version is I'm glad it's back, and I've been enjoying it tremendously. And I didn't realize how much I missed it until it was gone. And now that it's back, I just can't get enough of it.
Yeah,
it's about the same way about missing all the sports that were missed for well over 100 days before. Now everything is starting to come back to life a little bit.
Oh, it's tremendous. You know, whether it's, gosh, maybe if you're a baseball fan or you and your buddies like to go play shuffleboard or lawn darts or squash or rugby or whatever it is that you do with your time and it's sports related, the joy that it brings to your life in ways that you can amplify that by celebrating with your friends and family. And it's okay to feel good. It's okay to feel good about sports, and I hope you do. I hope everyone does.
We have, but believe us, Joe and I always go to Little League games every summer to enjoy the times of how these kids play, and we're just there to empathize, sympathize, and see how well these kids play, and see how well these parents try not to get into arguments with umpires.
Well, Little League's been wonderful. Just this morning, I did play-by-play for the West Hartford Minor League Championship game, and I 20 years of broadcasting, 21 years, and I'd never done play-by-play before, and I just can't tell you how incredibly difficult it is. It is incredibly difficult, and I've done a lot of hard things in broadcasting, so I have a new appreciation for the announcers, and I think I'm also going to be a little less critical of announcers going forward because now I understand how hard it is, but it was a wonderful experience. The parents were great. The coaches were amazing to work with. The umpires were tremendous. They were just wonderful, well-rounded baseball people, and it was just a great experience. Nice
to see that. Was that with fans or that? No,
that was with a very passionate group of fans.
Yeah,
who very much wanted their sons and grandsons to have their names said on the broadcast. So I did my best. I don't think I was perfect. I don't think that exists in broadcasting.
Nobody's ever perfect.
I was as good as I can be, and I know that in about a week or so that will be available on Connecticut Public Television. So hopefully, if you have the opportunity to watch this, I hope I don't get any hate mail from any fans because
you won't.
It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing announcing.
Oh, all right. It's a hard time to even run your own sports show sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's difficult. I'm finding this out. This is our 11th episode, and we're motoring around. You know, we just love sports so much that we're bringing it to people.
Now, are your other 10 episodes available anywhere to watch?
Yeah, you can watch us on YouTube.
YouTube comes up on in a few days.
Yep. And this will be in a few days on YouTube. Awesome. Brian will be editing at Nutmeg Television. And it's not open to the public right now, but, Now,
when you edit it, Joe, can you make my shoulders and arms look a little bigger? Do you guys have that sort of technology?
If there was a green screen in back of you, I believe we could do that to you. Are you wearing a green shirt or some...
Oh, I have the Laws of Baseball shirt that Marjorie Adams was so nice.
Hey, that works.
Yeah.
Love the shirt. But hey, Joe, I love your Facebook. You're very entertaining follow, and all the photography work you did for us at Muzzy was top notch, and that really means a lot to us.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to do it. You know, photography's part of sports and part of my life. So, yeah. Hopefully I can get on
board, and you brought me on board with the show. So
yeah, I brought Coachy on with the show, and it's just been great. It's been great to do.
Dynamic duo.
Yeah, the dynamic duo. Yeah,
I like that, the dynamic duo. That's pretty good. Batman and Robin all over again.
Batman and Robin. Yeah, we're arguing over our sports teams when we get a chance.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's worth it. It takes the frustrations out of you, so you can say it over the air, and then you can see what's going to be the reaction for next week.
Yeah. So,
what I learned? I just want to say real quick. I've done some umpiring in my day, and when I did, there were some times when people were hostile toward me, and I thought about it, and I'm glad I didn't react to it because just like when you're having a debate with someone about your sports teams, like all we ask is that people are passionate about what they do and love. And what I learned through umpiring is that you don't get to dictate to other people when and how they can be passionate. That just exists and you roll with it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So this has been your first time on the show, and hopefully you can come back on the show hopefully we have a studio that you could come to at Nutmeg Television, and we'll have a desk and everything, and we got green screens. We can make it bigger, smaller, whatever you want.
Well, if
food too.
you let me into the studio, you better hide the ladders because that's my element, Joe.
Yeah, that's your well,
fair enough.
Fair enough. So,
thank you guys very much.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for being.
It's a pleasure.
Chuck.
Thank you for being our very first guest, and we are hoping you will come back again.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Thanks so much for having me. Nice to meet you, Coachy.
You too, Chuck. And find me on Facebook because I'm on there quite a bit, and I do like to post a lot of good things.
Excellent.
All right.
All right, Chuck.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
Yep. God bless. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Coachy. That was fun. That was good.
That was very well. We stayed within the range of questions. We stayed away from talking about, the rules.
Yep, the rules he gave us and everything. Yep. Okay.
And he did it very well, but now.
And we still got 25 minutes to trash baseball.
Yeah. Are we allowed to put a couple minutes of extra time? Because I did write a couple things down.
Okay. We got 25 minutes.
All right. All right. Yeah, we got to start with. We have to stay in baseball.
Yeah, we do.
Unfortunately, during the week, when we left last week, the Miami Marlins got nailed.
Yep, 14 players.
With 4, then it went to 15, then it jumped to 18.
18, yep.
And that's when the Marlins said, no way. When they heard that, the New York Yankees were not going to play the Philadelphia Phillies just to be safe.
Yeah, so what do we have?
The Cardinals too, by the way.
We have 6 teams right now that aren't playing, that are postponed or doing something else.
They're not canceled yet.
They're not canceled,
but the Cardinals were supposed to play a 4-game series with the Detroit Tigers. Not happening probably after what happened today. More tests came out positive.
Yep. I don't think the extra travel and stuff like this in baseball will survive a season. I don't think they'll survive 60 games with all this travel.
And the commissioner, he said today, he kept changing his tune about this too the last couple of days. He said, if this doesn't get fixed, I'm shutting it down. And then he comes out today, I think, or yesterday, there's no quit in baseball right now. Let me tell you something. If this doesn't get fixed very soon, you're going to see a shutdown. And guess what? They shut this down. That's the end of baseball for the season. I'm sorry, you cannot make these games up in a shortened season.
Yeah, I know. They're already trying to play doubleheaders, play 7-inning games or something.
7-inning doubleheaders. Yeah, that was announced the other day. But of course, the other thing, and I didn't really care for this too much, was we're going to get fined and suspended for sign stealing. I'm like, this is not the time to even worry about that right now.
Yeah, don't worry about sign stealing or throwing at Astro players or anything like that.
It's one thing, 7 innings for a doubleheader. Okay, I get that. You don't want to play too long because you want to try and get the heck out of there. I get it.
Yeah, I get that too. But with no fans, 7 innings, get the 2 games in, and boom.
Exactly. But you can't. This is now 2 teams that have gotten hit hard now.
It's all becoming down to a Survivor Series show. Which teams will survive until the end?
Yeah, which baseball team is going to tag team, throw a tag, and go, okay, it's time for a head or elbow shot.
Yeah, I know. It's getting out of control a little bit.
Even today, I don't think you heard of this, but okay, Cespedes. There was a big ongoing thing this morning. It's like, where is he? Where is he? It's like, did he
opted out?
He opted out. Why couldn't he tell anybody about this? Instead, he gets told this afternoon after the game's over.
Yeah. After the game was over, he just opted out. He just
left. Well, that's wonderful. He's lucky that you're not getting penalized, because if he did that, his contract would have been voided today. Yeah. I bet you.
But Cespedes is kind of a player that's always been dramatized a little bit.
Yeah, well, he hasn't played in 2 years, and yet he hit a couple home runs to start the season. I believe he had a couple hits against the Red Sox, too, if I'm not mistaken, this week.
Yeah, I don't think the Mets were going to go anywhere this season anyways, but –
No, but that whole NL East right now is wide open.
Yeah, that's wide open easily. That's more wide open than our division.
Yeah, exactly.
The Yankees
but
are running
you guys
away
are running away with it right now with a 7. Is it 6-1 or 7-1?
6-1.
6-1.
6-1 start.
Yeah, you guys are doing pretty good. I mean,
Our pitching's been okay.
Your hitting has been good.
Yeah. Cole's been fine.
Aaron Judge,
3 home runs. Yeah. 3 home
this
runs.
Guy right now, keep him healthy. I think he can get 30 home runs this year.
Yep. I mean, he's doing well.
He's your best player.
Matt, well, once Gleyber Torres comes back, he's picking up a little bit more too.
And you got Chapman coming back too. He got cleared.
Yep, he got cleared. He's in the bullpen. I mean, the Yankees just, they come up with these big players. I mean, everybody's over 6 feet tall, and they just march them right to the plate.
Yeah, well, even Stanton right now, I heard he's not
swinging
as much.
What? No, he slimmed down. He looks fit. He looks healthy. He's swinging the bat okay. He's doing okay.
Oh,
I mean, he's got a couple home runs and stuff like that, but Yankees lineup, you never know who's going to hit the home run.
Yeah,
it's coming.
The only player you have trouble right now is Sanchez, who broke an 0-for-15 slump last night.
Yep. If Sanchez starts hitting the bat, that lineup is you can't pitch.
I've heard Aaron Boone has benched him quite a bit already.
Yep. He's been on the bench. I mean, I don't. It's more psychological with him. I don't know why he's not embracing the talent that he does have. He's a good catcher. He's a good catcher.
Yeah. After we were talking about the Yankees and his praise of play, we played the New York Mets for 4 games. In the first 2 games, we were absolutely god-awful. Our pitching started.
You have no pitching.
No, we don't.
You don't have any pitching.
We don't. So then let's forward to the next 2 games against the Mets. We found a way to win those 2 games. I don't know how, but Nathan Eovaldi has been our best starter that we have.
Yep.
Eduardo Rodriguez, unfortunately, was announced on Friday that his season is over. He's got a heart condition.
Yeah, so
and you can't fiddle around with that.
Yep.
Hitting-wise, our weakest hitter right now is Andrew Benintendi.
Yeah.
He's batting under 100. They've been trying to move him around in the batting lineup between 1st, 9th, and 8th. They gave him a day off. We've been trying to produce and everything. So then we go to Yankee Stadium. We had a chance on Friday with the bases loaded. That got squashed. Then Saturday, well, unfortunately, we give up a grand slam. That was curtains after the grand slam. We made it a 5-2 game, but that was it. We're hoping tonight, if the game goes on, not to be swept before the Red Sox have to go to dangerous Tampa Bay this week.
Yep, Tampa Bay. It doesn't get any easier.
No,
that's
Tampa
for sure.
Bay's a pretty good team, but remember, Florida's in Spike World, so.
The Red Sox, you have no pitching. It's just not there.
No, we don't have
if you look at the lineups that you've won World Series with, and you look up your pitching lineups and you mirror it, it's like apples to dinosaurs. It's way off. It's way off. But if you guys aren't gonna outscore a team and your players aren't hitting, you're not going to win that game. You're just not.
No, and
you have no bullpen. You got no way to keep.
Going to be rumored to be traded next.
Yeah, so that's the Red Sox in a nutshell. That's what you're going to watch all year. I mean, I don't think in the trade deadline you can pick up anything enough to fix anything. I don't know if you even want to in a 60 game. If you're, let's see, what trade deadline is what, in a couple weeks, couple months?
I gotta look that one up. Hold on. Of course.
Yep.
This went for the first time. We went without looking up something, but now we did.
Yeah, I think it's in 3 weeks.
The
trade deadline.
I think it moved this year.
Yeah, it did move. It
thing's July. Yeah, it was July 31st, but
yeah.
I can see this being in August, I think, because baseball started so late.
and I don't see anything that could really help the Red Sox enough to solve their problems. I mean, you're not going to.
We might as well hold an audition if we have to.
Yeah, you might as well have Coachy pitch and fulfill a fantasy.
I'm not driving to Boston anytime soon, pal.
You can drive to Boston a couple hours a week. But yeah, that's them in a nutshell. So the Mets actually their pitching hasn't looked too well either.
No, they're going to
take pretty much
closer, and they're going to tell him he's done closing games. Apparently, unless something changes, they already went into panic mode with that.
Well, he's given up home runs and leads and stuff and everything else.
Except for that opening game.
Yeah, one opening game, he closed down the game, and then after that, he's given up I think 3 home runs or something like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, it's not hurting my fantasy baseball league. I'm up 7-3 in the first week, so
there you go.
That's because I'm getting all my hitting. That's why. Even though I got about 7 players that are postponed, but I had to make moves to make sure this didn't happen.
Well, good luck with that.
So, thank you.
But
we're gonna save the NHL and NBA for last because we have to talk about the NFL now. Players are opting out left and right now. And
players.
Quarterbacks are on the COVID list.
Yep. Several Patriot players have opted out of the season.
Yep, we're up to 8.
Eight of them. So, Chung, Hightower, those are big names on the defense.
Lacoste for offense. Devlin for offense.
Yep.
Who else? Marquise Lee, who we just signed a 1-year deal. He's opted out.
Players are, I think, they're opting out, but if they have opt out for the COVID reason, they still get paid a little bit.
Yes, they do, but I think there's a deadline coming up on when you.
Yeah, I think it is the deadline.
I think it's tomorrow or Tuesday because I think the players are starting to cheat the system with that a little bit.
But yeah, they are cheating the system a little bit just to get out of the season. Some players are like, we don't want any even training camp. We just want a season.
Yeah, well, they already got that wish.
Yeah.
Because this week was supposed to be the first exhibition game. This was supposed to be the NFL Hall of Fame weekend, too.
Yep. So
but that's
didn't not happen. No.
And then the big story is Matthew Stafford and Garrett Minshew, 2 quarterbacks, got put on the COVID-19 list today.
Oh, okay. So they're on there. Matthew Stafford's a big time quarterback. So
yeah, and the quarterback for Jacksonville now too. So telling you, and the Buffalo Bills earlier in the week, they had to stop rookie camp because they got nailed for some of this.
Well, it's going to be a hard season to pull off and everything.
Yep.
It's going to be hard.
But you know what? And a lot of people, for your fantasy football people, this year you're going to have to pay attention so much, it's not even funny. I just got an email thinking that we may not run it this year, but pending what's going to happen. And our draft is September 5th.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to get mad over people opting out. People are going to get mad over if they catch COVID. I mean, for fantasy players, I'll tell you this. You don't own the players. Be happy that you're actually playing fantasy sports, and it's gambling, okay? I'll leave it with that.
Go and live with that. It's not like with me with fantasy hockey. You know, right now there's the postseason goes on, and you know, and at least I found a way to get into that post league, and somehow, some way, and I think it was only down by 0.3 points going into day number 2, so that's not too bad. That's
because you study the hockey like anything, you know.
Yeah, if I don't like a player, what's going on, then I will put him on the bench, and if he's looking worse, then see you later. I'm going to dump him, go pick up a player who's producing.
Yep. So out the door.
So what if I only have one goalie playing out of 3? At least I got one who's guaranteed to play well. The other 2's going to sit on the bench.
Yep. So that's fantasy.
Right.
I don't do the fantasy.
No, I know you don't, and I probably would teach you if I could, but I highly doubt it.
I don't own players. I'm not getting upset that they're not producing for me. They produce because of their job. It's their job.
Right. Yep.
I mean,
but anyway,
that's my token on
let's
fantasy
get away
football.
from the bad news stuff. We are happy that
let's
the
talk
NBA
about
and
good
the
stuff.
NHL, the NBA and the NHL have come back.
Yep, and the bubble is working down in Florida. The bubble is working.
So far, the NBA has resumed, but they're not in the playoff though. They've resumed their regular season.
It's 8 regular season games, and when they get over that, it's the seeding for the 8 top seeds.
Yep, that's correct. While in hockey, they've started. A lot of the playoffs have started. Everybody got to play one preseason game, and now you have the round robin. And for the teams who get a first round bye, they get to play qualifying games to see who becomes the top seed of the East and West.
And good news today, the Boston Celtics won over Portland. High scoring game, 128 124.
124. Yeah, there have been high scoring NBA games going on so far this week.
Well, they got to get used to the rims and stuff and everything. Let's see. Jason Tatum had a nice game of 34 points. Very nice game. Jaylen Brown had a nice game of 30. Kemba threw in 14 points. So that they're 1-1 for their 8 games that they're playing.
Yep, they got 6 games to go.
Yep, so that helps them out. So Celtics bounced back from their loss from Milwaukee,
and took care of Portland.
Yep, took care of Portland pretty good.
Yeah, no,
so that's good.
I saw the Toronto Lakers game last night. LeBron James was so aggravated after the game. He goes, "We can't seem to beat the Toronto Raptors." I said, "Well, remember, this is the team who won it all last year."
Yep, that is the team that won it all. But they're saying LeBron James and the Lakers aren't going to win the championship.
I don't think so either.
I mean, they did take care of the Clippers the night before. Maybe they got up to that game a little bit more hyped up for the Clippers than they did the Raptors. But I think the Clippers could take them out. Well, let's see. The Denver may take them out. So they got a good team. They got a good chance not even making it to the finals. So with all their with the teams being how they are, I mean, they got no point guard on the Lakers. LeBron James is actually bringing up the ball a lot more in the games. So I mean, Rajon Rondo's a former shell of himself from Boston. So, yeah. So the Lakers may not make the finals. They may not even make the finals of the West.
Well, just so we want to hear another heartache with the Lakers, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh, man, the Lakers didn't make it again? Gosh darn."
Oh, no, Laker fans. Well, when you come from rich tradition of winning, and you build a team with Anthony Davis on it and stuff like that, and you're expected to win. You're expected to win.
Of course. Naturally. What else is new? That's the pressure of Los Angeles for you.
Yeah, it's this pressure of Los Angeles. It's the pressure of New York. It's the pressure of Boston. If you're in those cities, you're expected to win. And win a lot.
Especially against the easy teams.
Easy teams, hard teams, you're expected to win. I mean, that's the mentality.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, but yeah, so let's see. Other teams are doing well in the basketball. I mean, they tested 300 and something out of players for COVID and got negative tests, so they're doing well. Everything's going well.
Yep. Same thing with hockey. They have gone very clean through the first two rounds of phases, and I'm happy this is working, and we just hope we can keep it up.
Yeah. How's the games going? How's the action on the games? How's players? right now, or
right now we're at I have St. Louis, Colorado on for hockey right now. There's no score after in the first period, 6.5 to go. But Orlando was playing somebody, I forget who, and they were Sacramento, and it was like a 16-point game after one quarter. I said, oh jeez, Sacramento's going to get ready and go right back home.
Yep.
When this is all said and done. But I think so far with the hockey format, it's gone very good. I mean, unfortunately, my Rangers lost 3-2 thanks to first period. Let's all put the hard hitting into effect, and then let's break into one fight. And, you know, we got to get ready and play game 2 tomorrow at 12, which, of course, I'm going to have to listen to some of the game at work because I can't, or I might get lucky and watch the end of it. But, you know.
Yeah, that's that.
And then I'm seeing Devin
How's
McCourt.
Boston doing? How's that?
Bruins got beat 4-1 today.
Yeah.
By the Flyers, but that's not a playoff game. That was a round robin game. So I think if Boston loses another one, I think Philadelphia gets the top seed in the East, I believe. But
Okay.
there's still Washington and Tampa Bay still are playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, I think. So, and there's still a couple games going on. But overall in hockey, with the two hub cities, yeah, I know it's very weird and everything, but everyone's been doing it very well. We did have a Matt Dunn of the Minnesota Wild yesterday come out and do a Black Lives Matter speech.
Well, that's been happening in the NBA too. They all kneeled during. That's
no
happened.
No one's been kneeling for hockey so far, Joe.
No one's kneeled for hockey, but they've done stuff. But basketball, they all kneeled. Just before the anthem. They did that in baseball. They kneeled before the anthem.
Yep.
They had that black band and stuff. So
absolutely. And you'll want to read later about Devin McCourty is ripping about the attempt to out the deadline for the opt-out.
Yep.
So I just posted that on my Facebook.
Okay.
And Justin Thomas won the St. Jude Invitational Classic by 3 strokes.
Nice.
Today.
Nice.
So, and they were racing in New Hampshire for the Foxwoods 301, they called it, or something like that. The race is over, I think, unless it's been raining in New Hampshire. I don't know who won that, but we got like 2 minutes, I think, left.
Yeah,
so.
We got 2 minutes. We got some time. We got 2 minutes.
Yep. Trying to see who won the event. Brad Kozlowski.
Doing our wrap up.
Yep, Brad Kozlowski won the NASCAR in New Hampshire.
NASCAR's gone over well.
They're bringing fans back.
Okay.
They've had some fans back. Denny Hamlin finished second. Martin Truex finished third. And our own local boy, Joey Logano, finished fourth.
Nice. That's a nice performance.
And then we had a tennis player that opted out for the U.S. Open for later this month also.
Oh, okay.
Well. But next week's show, we might as well bring this up now. Next week, we need to talk about Notre Dame football and how they're going to be in the ACC conference if the college football goes on as scheduled.
Well, right now, every college is pushing their season started back.
But not football. They're trying very hard not to do that one.
I think they're pushing back football too.
They're going to push it too? Okay. We also have to talk about high school football, fall sports next week. We don't have time to discuss it right now, but my aunts gave me a copy of the paper, and we need to discuss that in the show next week.
Okay, we'll discuss that next week.
But we do want
that could be a mess too.
Yep. It might be, and I'm already a little bit, but I'm not going to talk about it right now because it's too early to discuss whether I'm going to be allowed to be on the field or not. So that's another day to have a say in it. But before we go, I know we only have a minute left. We want to thank our special guest today for coming on our show. We really appreciate it.
It's good, and make sure you go to his Facebook page and get more information. And when they come in September at Muzzy Field.
Yep, he's a really good guy. It's nice to meet him. I know you've known him for a while, so September, like we said, September 20th coming up at Muzzy Field, and probably it's a good thing now with the Mum Festival being canceled.
The Mum Festival, the Apple Festival. I think that's the only thing that's going to be going on in September.
Yeah, unless something else is happening in an event. I think that's the only event that's going on, I think.
Yeah, that's the only event.
For that, I think Lake Compound's got like 2 events coming up, but that's not until like September or October. So,
well, I don't think Lake Compound is going to do the haunted.
No, I don't think so either.
That's not happening.
That's not happening.
Too many people.
So yeah, you're right, because that's a big event.
Yeah.
There's no way you can start. You'll have to limit how many people can go, and I'll tell you right now, that's not going to be good for them to wait.
Yeah. Usually you wait like 4 hours in a line.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be much worse.
Yeah. So, yeah, much worse. So.
Anyway, unfortunately, our time has expired.
Yeah, time has expired. So, thanks for watching the Sportsman Show. I've been your host, Joe Musil.
I am Jason Coachy de Careless. Thank you very much for watching. Please find us on YouTube. Our new episode will come in a couple of days. And if you feel like watching our program on TV, I believe we're up on episode number 5.
Yep, we are.
Have a good week, everybody. We'll do this again next weekend.
Yep. Enjoy sports.
Bye-bye.
Bye.